Robert Plank Show, episode 277. Try new things, get clients, and build a business that thrives with holistic health expert Nick Zyrowski. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Nick Zyrowski, and he's going to tell us about some cool stuff. So Nick, how are things today?
Things are going great. It's cold here in Michigan, but overall, we're just enjoying life.
Awesome. That's all you can do, right? You play with the hand that got dealt to you. So cool. So can you kind of tell us who you are and what you do these days?
Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and I run newvisionexcel.com. What we are is a concierge health service that really works with people from all over the world at this point, and we help them take their health and their life to the next level. So one of the ways that we do this is by running lab work on them and coming up with a pinpoint plan in order to get them well. Now, we operate in the natural realm of healthcare, holistic healthcare. We don't focus on medicinal, how to get somebody well from a medicinal standpoint or how to cover up their symptoms with a medicine. What we do is we focus on going upstream in order to really identify the problems that these people are having. So we do a lot of detoxification here. We do, anything really that's necessary to get the person well. I've worked with people who have diabetes, who have terrible intestinal issues, you name it. I've worked with a little bit of everybody over the years, and, we get them well, and the results speak for themselves. So we do this all from a natural perspective, holistic perspective. But, the cool thing that I love about what we do is not only are we getting them well naturally, but we're also using the science that is available today in order to get them well with lab testing and all the cool new things that are available, the therapies and everything we can do, anything we can do to get people well.
Awesome. And it seems to me like a lot of the stuff is pretty new, as you're saying, right? The last 10 years or so, it seems that this whole alternative medicine sort of industry has kind of exploded, right?
Well, absolutely. It's interesting because now more and more businesses are going online, and it is interesting for me because I was one of the first people that actually went online with my health center, and I was looked at like I was crazy, right? Like, who in the world would do that? Well, now you're getting mainstream medicine, which is actually going that route too. So, we are online. We focus on, and we're able to reach people from all over the country and all over the world. It's incredible. We do video consulting with our patients, and so we reach people from all over. We're very based online, but yes, as far as the advances go, it's very cool because we're doing genetic testing with patients. We're doing all this type of testing, and the cool thing is we can send it right to their door. They can fill these labs, some of them in their homes, some of them they just go to a testing center. But we're able to actually help these people with pinpoint accuracy. And yeah, the science is unreal anymore. Just the way that we have the capabilities with these lab tests out there in order to actually figure out what's the root cause of somebody's health conditions. One of the things I always talk about, and you'll hear me talk about, is what is the root cause? So if somebody has diabetes, what is causing that diabetes? If they have arthritis, what is causing that? So with lab tests, we go further upstream in order to identify those issues. Now, with the science and the lab tests that we have available, it's pretty fascinating because they've come a long ways. A lot of times in the past when we were looking at some of these lab tests out there, they're more of a snapshot in time. So they didn't necessarily get us very accurate data overall, but now there's lab tests available where they're taking the blood sample, and they're able to actually look from a period of time. Like, for instance, one of the tests that we do, they actually go and they grow the cells and they determine what the issues are versus somebody just getting lab tests or a snapshot in time. And so they're able to just have a broad spectrum look over someone's health. And when we take all these different lab tests and we put them together and we can look at each system of the body and how it's working synergistically, then, we're able to get great results.
Awesome. And that's pretty crazy stuff. I had no idea it had gotten that advanced to the point where they'll actually grow your cells in a lab and stuff like that. And so I'm really curious because you said that you were one of the first doctors to kind of put his whole thing online. And so, what was it like then? What was it like when you got started and you were trying to reach these new people?
Well, it was pretty interesting because, first of all, I got a lot of I don't know, like a lot of flack in a way. A lot of people were like, "That's crazy. Like, why would you do that? Why would anybody go to somebody online?" It was like, it was like when it was still weird to have a Skype conversation, right? And then FaceTime came out, and like, oh my gosh, like you can just pull up and talk to somebody, video chat on your phone, and so like for humans, I think it was a little bit, it was a little bit of a breakthrough in order to like go and jump online and see somebody and talk to them face to face. And then it was even more of a breakthrough to like, have somebody work with you on your health. So it was interesting because I was told so many times that it couldn't be done, it wouldn't work, and there were so many reasons for it. And there's that patient interaction that's absolutely necessary, one on one. And long story short, it worked, and it worked very well. As a matter of fact, people liked it so much more because they're able to communicate and work with me right from their home. They don't have to go sit in a doctor's lobby for a half hour before they get called back, and then and then still not necessarily even get the doctor that they want to work with, or get the advice that they really want. So anyway, it really puts people in the driver's seat of their health, and they're able to do it from their home, and they're able to pick and choose. And so when I started doing it, a lot of people said it just absolutely wouldn't work, and it's worked out fantastic. And now we're seeing more and more people who are going this way, and it's actually becoming more and more mainstream, without a doubt, for people to work with somebody through the internet, through video consulting, and get the healthcare advice that they want.
Awesome, and I can completely relate to sort of needing to modernize that, because it feels like the usual kind of steps of going to the doctor's office seem sort of like maybe 50 years out of date, right? Like you have to get there like 30 minutes, an hour before your appointment to like fill in the form, and then wait for them to send you in the room, and go and wait in the room, and then, like you said, not even get the doctor, only for them to only be there with you for like maybe 5 minutes, and then even within that, maybe they're only listening to your story for maybe 10 seconds to kind of pick out the one little piece of it, and then, like you said, they're not even really going for the root cause every time, and sometimes they'll just like prescribe you something to put the Band-Aid on it. So I really like this whole idea of putting people in the driver's seat of their health, as you said. But then it kind of makes me think about, okay, well, so when you got started and you were kind of trying to have this revolution get started and move these things, did you come across any sort of difficulties with credit card companies, or were you like high risk, or was there any kind of like sort of like doubt in buying, or any kind of like regulatory stuff? Did you come across any difficulties with that, being one of these first trailblazers?
Well, I think there was a difficulty with people actually going that route, as in working with somebody on the internet, just because it was so new, right? I mean, like now I told you it's starting to become a little bit more mainstream, but yeah, there was a difficulty, because it was a really odd concept to people. And so, I would have to say, starting off, it wasn't, some businesses, they start off online, and they just, through online marketing and everything, they really go and they make it happen just through those online resources. But I initially started, though I was working with people through video consulting and more of an online platform, the way that clients were coming in was really by me going out and getting them. And so, for instance, I would go and speak at like a big grocer's meeting, and then get hired on by a grocery company in order to take care of their executive team, and so I would go and do my best to put myself out there, because like I mentioned, it wasn't a matter of like you just did some online marketing and then people came flooding in. It wasn't like that, where you can take someone who's a coach, for instance, and they're a business coach, and it's a little bit easier for them to go out and do some online marketing and get people who want to be coached by them based off what they see. But when it comes to health, it's a little bit more of an intimate thing, where people do like to know who that guy is on the other end. And so at first it really was me going out and getting people, and then it just became more of a little bit of me getting people and more referrals, and then it just became a big referral base. And essentially, I'd say we operate today on a referral base. Simply because we I have as many clients as I can handle, for the most part, it's all just referral and taking care of the families and the people that I went out and got years ago.
And that's awesome. And it sounds sort of like, if I'm understanding you right, it sort of sounds like with this whole thing, you were earlier than everyone else, so it was hard for like the average sort of patient or person looking to better their health. It was hard to tell them about this, going online and dealing with a coach and stuff like that. And I like that it sort of sounds like your sort of solution for that to being an innovator or being too early or not having caught on yet is just you went after these people one at a time. And it kind of reminds me of like I think when Amazon got started, Jeff Bezos delivered the packages to the post office himself. Like he put packages like in his car himself and sort of drove them to the post office himself until it caught on. So is that sort of, if I'm hearing you right, is that sort of what happened there? Like you said that now there's the referrals, but in order to kind of get this new thing adopted that no one had seen before, you just kind of had to go after people one at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started off, I started off straight out of school. I just got my doctorate, and I was $180,000 in debt. And I couldn't afford to hire anybody. So yeah, I was like Jeff Bezos, hire or taking the packages to the post office. Like I did it all myself. There wasn't anybody. There was me and my wife and a few pennies scraped together. But I wasn't able to start with a business with a pile of money sitting around. So I really essentially started my business off of some leftover student loan money, and that because that's all I had, and my wife and I grew it from the ground up.
Awesome, and that just sounds like one of those situations where you kind of were in a way like backed into a corner. There were no good options in front of you, so you kind of made your own. And so you got your doctorate, and then you just went straight from there to building this business. There were no other like attempts or things like that.
Well, I had to do like internships and things like that. I've spent much time in your regular brick and mortar office. As a matter of fact, I have a brick and mortar office today. So I'm not. As we continue to build, that was one of the things that we did is we actually started a brick and mortar office. But I was certainly without a doubt. I certainly without a doubt spent time in other areas, but while I was in school, I actually started this business. So I leftover student money just started in going. This is what I wanted to do. This is my dream business, and I started creating this online health center, and I was helping people before I even just to rewind a little bit. I was helping people before I was even completely out of school. People saw that I was what I was doing, and they started asking for help. I mean, there's a lot of people who want to solve their health issues from a holistic, natural perspective. They just don't know who to go to. They don't know who can help them. And as a matter of fact, most people think that many of the conditions that they face are irreversible and they have to live with them forever. They have to live on a medication forever. And for those people, there's certainly a lot of hope out there because we reverse many conditions all day long here. So, I just started. I started just before I graduated, putting everything together. By the time I had graduated with my doctorate, once again, I was ready to hit the ground running. I kind of had everything in place, but I didn't have like a couple $1,000 or I didn't not even a couple $1,000 sitting around to invest. So I did it over a period of time, and it's just when you're going to start a business, I always encourage people who are starting a business, start your business with nothing, right? Like some people think you have to go have like a $50,000, $100,000, $1 million loan to go start your business. No, start your business with nothing, like with the leftover money that you have, and start working it and see what comes out of it, and then go from there. And that's what I did.
Awesome. I love it. The time will never be just right. And so when you're, when you've been building this online store and having these clients and stuff like that, is there any sort of danger, or have you seen anyone sort of I don't even know how to ask this, but like, has anyone sort of sort of messed up? Like, has anyone sort of done this whole, I'm going to be researching my health, I'll do this research. Has anyone sort of like gone too crazy, or like done the wrong things or done the wrong things to their body just because maybe they did the wrong sort of research? Is that a danger with this?
Well, I think that when I see people who are just trying to, self solve their health issues or health crises, one of the things I find that people really struggle with the most is that they go and they just keep trying new things, and then they end up spending way more money than they ever needed to because they didn't just go and get professional help from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, I had a call. There was a lady who wanted to work with me, and I spoke with her, and she in the end she just kind of wanted to know what should I do, like what supplements should I take, and I'm like, look, I'm not even going to make a suggestion for it because I don't know your whole health history, and like I know that you want me to just throw some information out there, but I'm like, this is going to be a big waste of money for you. You have serious health concerns. Like it's very common in the health industry for for someone to just go start giving somebody dozens of supplements and start taking all these, and this is going to solve this, and this supplement's going to solve that. But at the end of the day, I can't stand it. And I'd say that when I look at how I operate today, it's at some point I had a little learning curve in my life, and it just made me really basically open my eyes to some of the issues that are out there. And when I talk about people who are just trying to self-heal themselves, like it happened to my mom, where there was a lady who was, selling some type of nutritional supplement. And it was like a multi-level marketing thing. And she had my mom on like maybe like 30 different things. It was awful, and it was actually making her more sick. And so like, and at the end of the day, like a lot of these people, though they have good intentions, I mean, they're just trying to make some sales, So I'm not a fan of making or just putting stuff out there and getting people to try products in order to just make a sale. Like my goal is to get people well. So, when we look at my health center as a whole, I love the concept of it, because guess who hates sitting in a waiting room of a doctor's office more than anybody? This guy. So I mean, I remember going to a dentist and they made me sit there for 45 minutes, and I was about ready to like lose my mind because I thought it was so rude. So people are able to work with me, and when we, if we have an appointment at 9 o'clock, we got an appointment at 9 o'clock. And when it comes to the nutritional supplementation and people being able to buy it online, my suggestion is that you go and actually determine or get some professional help in order to determine what you really need. Now, there's some people who they might need an anti-inflammatory, right? They got some inflammation issues in their body. Maybe they just want to do an anti-inflammatory. Well, it's safe to go buy an supplement that's going to help with inflammation. But, overall, people need direction in that area. But I wouldn't say that people go and hurt themselves or anything like that. I mean, all of our products are prescription grade supplementation, through that can be used through healthcare practitioners only. So they're all very high level, very, very good quality. But I'm not a fan of just trying to sell people supplements, and that's never my intention. My intention is to get people well and really create a blueprint for them to get well.
Awesome, fair enough. And so, having said that, is there sort of a starting point for people? Like, I mean, do people sort of come to you knowing what problem of theirs that they want to fix, or is it just a matter of like wanting to feel better? And then, like, it's a good starting point for someone to kind of book a consultation with you, or read a book, or go through a course, or like, where do people start to make sense of all this?
Absolutely. Well, if you go to newvisionexcel.com, there's a couple of things that we do. First of all, you could actually do a consultation with me. And before we even get on the phone, we're going to send you some paperwork, and we're going to be able to, with that paperwork, I'm going to look at it, review it, and we're going to come up with a game plan of what we need to do from there. But you know what? Like, some people don't want to get on the phone, right? And some people just need some basic level help. So one of the things that we started doing this year, just to lower the barrier for people in order to help more people and get more people well, is we created some programs that were available so that people can just buy them. They can do them they can follow through the program. They can watch it in their own time. They can learn in their own time, and they have it forever. So, for instance, we have like a total nutrition makeover plan, which, it's in my house. My wife and I go through and we teach people everything that I've learned over the past 10 years, 10, 20 years, of how to eat healthy, and all the things you should do and shouldn't do, and the best diet you should follow in order to actually heal health problems, and set yourself up for a compelling future. So, there's people who come from all walks of life. So the people who just want a little bit of help and they want to do it on their own, we have that stuff for them. The people who actually need a strategist when it comes to their health, well, that's what we do all day long. We do more of that, and so that's when I get on the phone with the people and we strategize a health plan for them. Whether it includes lab testing or maybe just some advice in order to set them right down the right path. There's people who come that actually are facing serious issues. I had a 30-year-old gentleman who had arthritis so bad that he could barely even show up to work anymore. So there's people who come with serious issues, and there's people who just say, "Hey, look, I'm 45. I own a business. I want to continue to show up with energy and vitality. And hey, my uncle just died at 50 years old from a heart attack. Like, I want to avoid that stuff. So can you keep me going?" And so we work with a lot of people in that way too, where we just look to just take their health from where it's at to a higher level. And we will look at lab tests in order to look at disease factors that say, hey, you are going to have heart disease. Everybody who has this factor off the charts like you do ends up getting heart disease or stroke. So there's a high chance of that happening to you. So, we get people who come in from all walks of life, but our goal is to get results and help anybody and help them on their terms too.
Awesome. And the more that I hear about the sort of the cool things that you developed, and the more I hear about how excited you are about it, it's really cool because there's two sides of this. On one side, there's the whole, like the entrepreneur, like you built this business and built this online stuff part of it, and then there's also the side of where you're helping all these people, and a lot of listeners of the show are work at home entrepreneurs and people like that who maybe are sitting in a chair all day, and maybe they're sort of neglecting their health. And so you mentioned that there are all kinds of groups of people and all kinds of walks of life and different ages and different things they're trying to solve. And just with all of your dealing with these kinds of groups of people, do you see like a common health mistake that just like they all seem to share in common? Like, is it a matter of like that they're not focusing on prevention, or do they take too long to treat things, or do they listening to the wrong advice? Like, is there just sort of a common health mistake that you're just seeing repeatedly these days?
Well, I think probably the most common health mistake that we have is just the idea that you're just going to wait till you're like, 55, 60 years old, then you're going to start thinking about your health. That's a big mistake. Or the mistake of, hey, there's something not right about my body. There's something going on. I don't feel right. I don't feel good. I don't have any energy. My joints hurt now. Like, I'm not feeling too good. I have no focus, but let's just put that off because I got better things to worry about right now. Like, that's probably the biggest mistake I see, just people putting things off. And then next thing you know, you're diagnosed with cancer and you got a real problem, right? So, if you find out that you are just not feeling good and you have all these different symptoms popping up, those are the red lights on your dash in your car blinking, saying like, hey, fix the problem, right? Because that's how your body lets you know. That pain is your body saying, hey, we have an issue, please pay attention to this. And so many people ignore those issues, and they just push it back and push it back to the point where all of a sudden they have a real problem. They suffered a stroke. They found out they are getting diagnosed with cancer. They got diagnosed with diabetes. All these different issues. Like, these things are totally preventable if you actually take care of yourself on the front end. So people just need to really start taking care of themselves on the front end. So that's probably the number one mistake, is people just letting their body go. And I'd say probably the second biggest mistake is people just trying to self-heal. And what I mean by that is they find out they have an issue, instead of just helping a strategy or working with someone like myself to go in and strategize a solution. They just keep reading online and they keep searching Dr. Google and they keep finding the next best thing and they just keep buying and buying and buying the next best thing. And then at the end of the day, they never have any results. And heck, by that time, they usually end up in calling us up anyway. And the bad part about that is they already spent a fortune.
So sad stuff, but totally preventable. And both of those mistakes, as you're saying them, sort of interrelate to me the way I'm hearing them. Because like you use that analogy of the like if you start your car and you see all kinds of lights on your dashboard, well, it might drive today, it might drive tomorrow, but like I don't know about you, but as soon as I see those lights on my dashboard, I'm taking that car in like that week, if not that day, because I could drive it for a few weeks, but for all I know, it's gonna leave me stranded at the worst possible moment, and I could have just fixed it before it was a problem. And then as far as like the trying to self heal thing, to kind of keep that analogy going, it's almost like, well, if your car won't start and you don't know anything about cars, why not take the car into a mechanic, as opposed to just saying, well, let me research all about cars and let me try buying a new muffler. Oops, that didn't do it. Well, let me try buying a new fuel pump. Oops, that
Right.
didn't do it. As opposed to if you just went to the expert, they could have at least told you right away what the problem was, as opposed to trying to get in this whole new profession when you could have just taken it to an expert. And so lots of cool stuff today, and one thing that sort of springs into my mind now is that so we mentioned that you are a sort of like an innovator, trailblazer, as far as being one of those first people to offer supplements and offer the sort of medical coaching online and stuff like that. And do you have anything planned for the future as everyone kind of catches up to you? And also, as there's all, like you said, there's all kinds of lab test stuff. There's apps and health trackers. Any kind of fancy stuff planned in the future to kind of stay on the cutting edge?
Well, we're actually always working to innovate. Some of the most recent innovations we have is we are really focusing on the cellular detoxification area. And we've actually formulated some of our own products as of lately. So, that's one of the things about our brand is that not only do we have incredible programs, incredible health coaching, we also have cutting edge science with the supplementation that we're using. So, for instance, like I mentioned, we just released our cellular detox, and it's a two-part system. It's called cleanse and purify, and the one part, the cleansing part, is designed to actually help push the toxins out of the cell that we accumulate over a lifetime. It's estimated that there's like 20 or 48 billion tons of toxins released into the environment every year, and so our bodies become very toxic. So what we're actually looking to do is start taking that cellular detoxification to a whole new level and offer incredible products in that realm. But our newest, like I said, our newest product is designed around getting those toxins out of the deep tissues of the body, right? Once they store in there and they start to accumulate, it's once again, it drives that inflammatory process. And then every disease from there, when you look at cancer and diabetes and heart disease, they all start early on with an inflammatory process. So if we can avoid that inflammatory process, then we can keep people well. So anyway, I would say that we're innovating in the actual, right now we're spending time innovating in the actual detoxification area. And so in the cellular health products area. So that's where we're really putting our focus right now. And we're seeing some really great results with the products that we're using, and people are really loving it. So the brand that we are using is called Celerity. And we're really excited about the innovation coming out of that.
Awesome. And just from what what I like about your website and a lot of your advice is that it's not just take this test, it's not just take this pill. Even like I'm looking at the cellular detoxification program, even, and like that one like has things to do before bed, things to remove out of your environment, things to change about like the liquid you drink and the food you eat and all that cool stuff. So I think that's really awesome that it sort of covers everything, right? It's like the best of both worlds. Like you get like the sort of the educated medical expert side, but then also the sort of nutritional side. And so lots of cool stuff. And you've mentioned that the that store there is newvisionhealthcenter.com. That's nuvisionhealthcenter.com. And so, is that the website people should go to find out all about this stuff, or is there another website? Is there a specific part on the website, or where should people go exactly?
Absolutely. So you can go to newvisionexcel.com, and newvisionexcel.com is where we have, tons of free resources. First of all, we have blogs on there and just tons and tons of cool information. I mean, all the blogs are written by me. And so there's plenty of advice on there. And then we also have our programs available on there where we kind of dive in and talk about those a little bit. Now, also, you can go to store.newvisionhealthcenter where we have a lot of our cutting edge products. Some of them are our brands, some of them are not our brands. See, I work with a lot of patients, and it takes a lot of stuff to get people well. So we can't we can't we can't offer everything as our brand because I use a lot of different things. But yeah, those are the two places. So newvisionexcel.com and then store.newvisionhealthcenter.com is where you can find out more about some of the products we offer.
Awesome, and thanks for making that distinction. So newvisionexcel.com is the place to find all about Dr. Z and about the information, and then store.newvisionhealthcenter.com is the place where there is the supplements and the coaching and the courses and stuff like that. Some yours, some others. So awesome stuff. newvisionexcel.com and store.newvisionhealth.com. So lots of cool stuff today. Lots of takeaways from all walks of life, from like little health things and just like, like living life toward type of things and building a business and entrepreneurship and dealing with obstacles and struggles. So lots of cool stuff from all walks of life. And I hope everyone paid attention and took some notes and maybe even listened once or twice or maybe even 3 times. And make sure that you also go to newvisionexcel.com and store.newvisionhealthcenter.com. So, Dr. Nick, really appreciated and enjoyed our conversation today, and thanks for sharing what you had to share with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to further connect, you can just look me up on Facebook and follow us there.
We really appreciate you listening to today's episode of The Robert Plank Show. Subscribe to us on iTunes and rate and review us at robertplank.com/iTunes.